What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Wave 22 figures. We have 4 more figures of G.I. Joes to look at. And first off, we've got Snake Eyes in his version 4 design, or based off his version 4 armor. So looks good. That comes basic with red weapons, so that's pretty cool. But looks awesome with the blue sword outfit there. Then we've got Major Bludd. So we've had Major Bludd in the past. Not sure if he was any sort of like exclusive or weird design, but now we just have him just like this. So probably just a more basic design. So arm looks pretty cool with his robot arm and all sorts of cool accessories. Then we've got another Dreadnought with Monkeywrench, which looks pretty cool. Nice design for him overall. Of course, just another member of the Dreadnought, so has sort of that same style design to him, which looks good. And then finally, we have Cobra Commander and his battle armor, combat armor. Looks pretty good there. So we get him different heads there showing like human eyes and his reptilian eyes, since he is like the snake version of Cobra Commander now. We also get an iguana version of Serpentor there. So pretty cool overall with just that battle armor design for Cobra Commander. So looks pretty good overall for that. I'm excited to check all 4 of these figures out. So let me get them open out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So let's start off with Snake Eyes version 4, which was based off the original 1991 figure, and Snake Eyes honed his combat skills as a long-range recon patrol trooper in the Southeast Asia, and perfected his mystical martial art techniques with the Arashikage clan, equally adept with submachine guns, and most dangerous when he's armed and cornered. So Snake Eyes looks good here, just in the new different design. Again, it's based off the 91 figure, so kind of G.I. Joe's getting into more weird designs, but overall I like the colors and everything for this. I like the blue and the black, nice combination there, nice vest on with the grays, and of course like the nice silver metallic mask there. Looks pretty good. Nice big goggles. It's crazy how big those are, like ski goggles on his face with the red lenses, but looks good overall. Black covering the rest of his face. Of course, blue tops, like I said, shirt wise, get the blue there, so down the sleeves and the midsection, then transitions to the black pants. And I love how smooth the body is and stuff. Joe, we usually get a lot of texture, so it's nice with the smoothness. It kind of reminds me of like all the divers. But like I said, big vest here up on his chest, like I said, that gray color, some black thrown in underneath it, pockets around his belt and stuff, so going around there. Thigh holster, so you get a holster on one side and a little pocket here with some kunai built into it. Of course, you can't take those out. Some guards there on his forearms with some kanji written on. I'm not sure what it says though or anything, but those on both arms, and then nice shin guards there on the front of his feet as well, and some nice blue color there on the back, so some blue being thrown in the black pants there as well, down to the feet where he has the tabby style shoes with blue bottoms on it. So like the design overall. Like I said, for me, this wouldn't be the Snake Eyes I choose to have on display and as like my main Snake Eyes, but I do like the design overall for him. But for movements, his head will twist all the way around there. You can see the neck twisting around with it as well. So we get the 2 joints there, and you can look down that far and up that far. So not a whole lot of range, unfortunately. Shoulders come up to 90 with the butterfly back and forth. So you get some range there kind of sticking and popping, and we'll rotate all the way around. We get a bicep twist and that double elbow joint. Little stiff there, but it'll bend up that far, so really good. Then we get the wrist that'll twist all the way around, and then has the hinge but back and forth for the hand this time. Then we get the ab crunch and everything, but of course behind the vest, it's hard to really tell. So it's mostly looks like an at the waist, but you get a little crunch back and forth, and we'll twist all the way around there at the waist. The hips will come up to 90 and out to the side. He can do the splits there, of course, with those drop down hips. Thigh twist, that'll twist all the way around. The double knee joint, that'll bend up that far to back, not too bad at all. Shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So good movements overall. Pretty standard for the Joes, but like I said, with like the smoother legs and body and all that stuff, it does make it seem a little bit different, but still relatively the same. Not the best range ever, but not bad at all. Now going to accessories, he does come with accessories very reminiscent of that classic toy. So we get weapons with a lot of red on them, but first we do get the backpack piece, so just the little piece there to hold weapons. So we get this that will peg into his back, so you get that. Not sure which way it's supposed to go, but you can obviously put it at angles and stuff depending on whatever side you want, but we'll just stick that in his back there for now. Then to weapons, first we do get a little SMG, so a little SMG gun with some red design on. Of course, has a nice front grip, and then a little magazine you can stick out there as well, and it comes with a silencer or suppressor, so we can stick that in the front of it as well, so you get that. So nice extended out gun, as the story sort of mentioned that he does use SMG guns, so we get that. And now there is a thing to hold it here on the side of his thigh, so like a thigh holster, but it's just really a flap design. It will hold the gun, but of course obviously with like the silencer and stuff on it, it doesn't like hold it too well, makes it really long, so you can just kind of do that and it holds onto it just like a loose grip there. So not the best, but it does hold it. Like I said, just any little movements, it'd probably fall right out. We do also get 2 swords for him, so we get some swords with some red on the blade, so that's pretty nice. So of course he comes with katana stuff in the past with our past figures, and we can obviously stick these into the slots here on his back. So with this back piece, you can store his swords on the back there. But I probably probably go ahead and give those to him, but before I do, I'll go and show the last weapon. He comes with a grappling hook. Again, the old one came with a gun that you'd put this like a grappling hook in and be able to shoot it like a spring-loaded thing. This one just gives us the grappling hook, so we just have that to worry about, but I'll go and put the swords in his hands. So there's Snake Eyes with the swords there, so looks pretty good overall. Now we have had, of course, many other Snake Eyes. It's our most known Joe figure that we've gotten, him and Cobra Commander. So we've had other versions of Snake Eyes. Now I tried to match up ones that match with his old toys, so the versions 1 through 4, since this is version 4. We don't have anything close to 3, so we don't have that one. But here we have version 1, which is just the Commando Snake Eyes, so nice classic design for that. This was the retro carded one, so that's the closest we have, the version 1 with the Commando Snake Eyes. Then the closest for version 2, I found this one, of course, has modern outfit and stuff, but closest design overall with the visor design. So there I'm gonna say have version 1, 2, and 4 now of Snake Eyes there, so I'll have to get version 3 at some point, hopefully in the future, but looks good overall for this version of Snake Eyes. Like I said, not as good looking to me as the past ones in the mostly black and all that. That's more classic Snake Eyes design to me, but this is just a fun design overall for him. And next up we have Major Bludd, who is Sebastian Bludd. He received initial military training in the Australian Special Air Service and later joined the French Foreign Legion. He worked as a military advisor in many countries, but is currently wanted for crimes. He's proficient with every infantry weapon and has a tactical mind like a steel trap. So cool to get Major Bludd. I think this is our first like main release one. I can't remember the thing because we do have a Major Bludd. I'll show it to you, but I don't know if that was just an old one that was released in the early waves or if it was like a Cobra Island, because something like that's like sticking in my head, but not exactly sure. But it's fun to get another Major Bludd. Looks very similar overall, just has updated body, I see, with like pinless joints and stuff, so that's really about it. Obviously colors and design and stuff, but most of the details are all there. But there we get his head design, which looks pretty good, of course showing some age and stuff with wear and tear. Missing one eye with a nice scar down his eye, so that looks good. Nice red like line inside of the eye patch there, and his haircut design there, just almost like a mohawk or whatever that design is with a little bit of white into it, but looks good overall for his face, you know, like I said, showing that age and wear and tear. Then we get his outfit design, so he has the brown outfit mostly on underneath, so we get some brown like from the shirt down to the pants in like a really dark brown color, but then he has this vest on over the top. Again, looks just like his original one, maybe a little different. I'll have to look at it when we bring it in, but I love how it has the red details in it, nice silver outlines and stuff. Looks really good overall. And his robotic arm, I don't know the details behind the robotic arm, like why he has, I didn't see anything about it in the story stuff I read about, but looks good with the nice black robotic arm with red detailings on it as well. Just love that red thrown in, add some pop of color to him. And then his normal arm, he has like a patch there. Again, I don't know logos and stuff too well, but nice green patch with the sword on it, of course forearm guard and gloves. Belt around his waist with some little silver canisters and buckles going all the way around there, and then has a little thigh holster off to the side with some silver on it as well for a gun. Standard G.I. Joe pants, so there we get more of the pants with the textures, pocket designs, knee pads going down to the boots. So he has these more, I'd say, like cowboy-like boots or like motorcycle boots, whatever, in black with nice steel tips on the toes and shin guards there on the front. So looks good overall for Major Bludd. But for his movements, his head will twist all the way around there. You get his neck twisting around once again, and then you can look down that far and up that far. So there he's got the disjoint in it, so it allows much better range of movement in the head there, thankfully. Shoulders will come up, at least for this robotic one, will come up to 90 there. Has the butterfly back and forth and will rotate all the way around. It's nice that that shoulder armor does move in and out of the way and everything. Get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends up that far, so not bad at all. And wrist will twist all the way around and hinge back and forth there. Then we get his ab crunches again under the armor, but you can see that crunch there. So crunch back and forth and then twist around at the waist with a little bit of crunching as well. Then we get the hips that do come up to 90 and out to the side there. I'm trying to force it. That's about as far as I can get it go. So not fully to the splits, but those drop down hips. Thigh twist around, but of course, especially with this on the right side, you have that thigh holster to worry about. The double knee joint, that'll bend up that far to the back. We then get the shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So again, decent movements, not too dissimilar from Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes had a little bit better range, it seemed, but do like that he has the hinge disc in his neck, allowing a little bit more movement there. Now for accessories, we get all the Major Bludd accessories we had before. So first we get his bundle of dog tags. So when he tends to kill soldiers, he collects their dog tags. So he has that necklace that you can put around him there. So with all those dog tags that he's collected, we also get his helmet, so kind of like the signature look of Major Bludd. So nice helmet design, very similar to what we've had before. Just love that it's got this like silver dry brushing around the like lines and stuff, makes it stand out a little more. We can put this on his head, and it does fit pretty snug on there. Who knows over time, because our older one is pretty loose, so it kind of flops around on him, but there seems to work on him pretty good there. Then moving over to his weapons, first we get a backpack piece that has some missiles in it. So we get 2 missiles there. Again, we've had the same backpack piece before, so there's the missiles sort of sticking in it that we can plug in his back. So there's the backpack now sticking off of there. And to go along with it, we do get a gun that I believe you can technically stick those missiles in. I think it looked a little bit weird with them sticking out in the big long missile sticking out of the gun. That's probably the same size, but the gun does have a peg on it there, so we can peg that into the side, so it kind of stores it all together there on his back. And then for his main weapon, we get this nice big revolver, some red there on the handle, silver barrel, I think is, I don't know what you call that exactly, but it looks pretty good for the revolver like design, but of course futuristic for Cobra and everything, so looks good. He does obviously have the holster here on his thigh, so you can take and slide this down into the holster to store it away, but I'll put it into his robotic hand. So there's Major Bludd with the pistol, so looks good overall. Of course, the annoying thing is that with these missiles, like every time you do stuff, if you barely touch it, they fall out, and so now they're loose and not sticking in there, so that is always annoying about it. So there's our Major Bludd figure, and of course we can look at the old one and compare. So here's that older one there. So again, looks very similar overall, has pretty much all the same outfit designs and everything, just retooled, recolored, all that sort of stuff. So still has the brown outfit underneath. Again, now we have the pin joints on the old one, pinless now, same with the elbow and stuff there, so we get that difference. And then the faces I don't know if they've updated the printing or what. I actually think I like the face a little bit more on the older one, because the new one just looks a little more shiny and stuff. It's definitely more gruff and everything there, but changed a little bit. Again, the designs on the helmet there went one of the missiles, and it has the same backpack piece, guns, all that sort of stuff. Everything's pretty much exactly the same. Like I said, just updated the joints and then recolored it for this new Major Bludd, but it is nice to have the new updated version. And next up, we've got our Dreadnought Monkeywrench, who is Bill Winky. He's from North Wales and built explosive devices for terrorist groups. He eventually drifted to London to take part in the New Wave movement, where he developed his rudeness and crude antisocial behavior. But his wanderings eventually brought him to Australia, where he would join up with the Dreadnoughts. So he looks pretty good. Again, now there has that design that looks like it fits in right in with the Dreadnoughts, with that rough, gruff look, like a dirty biker sort of guy. So looks good overall for his designs, with the longer brown hair. We get his face there, of course, with a mean look on his face with gritted teeth. Love how he has like a piercing in his eyebrow. At least I assume that's what it's supposed to be. He has some piercings in his ears as well. Longer beard and mustache design, a little bit of scarring and stuff there on his face as well. Bandana around his neck with a red leather vest. So that's pretty nice, pretty shirtless underneath there as well. Of course, this nice bandolier strap around his chest with some grenades on it there. Then we get his bare arms, so we get a logo there. Kind of like, I assume that's kind of like the Dreadnoughts logo, but just a skull, some crossbone of wrenches there, and then has a sword design on the other one, or a dagger, whatever. Black leather gloves there on his hands with some studs around it. Then we get a belt around his waist with a nice silver belt buckle there and some chains hanging off the belt. That's pretty nice. Blue jean pants that are all ripped up and torn. Thigh holster off to the side. Some red bands there wrapped around his shins with some black military style boots there on his feet. So just looks good overall, and like I said, fits exactly in with the rest of our Dreadnought look. Now for movements, his head will twist around, so he'll be able to twist. Of course, with all the crap going around his neck, it's hard to really figure it out, but it'll twist around there a little, look down that far and up that far, so not a whole lot of range once again, but like I said, could just be everything going on around him there. Then we get the shoulders that do come up to 90 there with a butterfly back and forth and rotate around. We get a bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends up that far, pretty good. Wrist will twist all the way around, and this has an up and down hinge, but it's like so deep set into the hand, like you can't really get it to move in at all, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Then we get his ab crunch, so with him being shirtless like this, you can see his ab crunch. Of course, doesn't feel like he's crunching what's there. He goes, so he crunches a little back and forth there, and of course crunch at the waist and twist all the way around. Hips will come up to 90 and out to the side to the splits there with those drop down hips. Thigh twist all the way around. The double knee joint that'll bend up that far to the back. Ooh, very close to kicking himself in the butt. Shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So good movements overall, once again, or at least decent for the G.I. Joes, so no real major issues or anything. But moving over to his accessories, first we do get some extra hands, so we get some fist hands. Not really sure why I need fists, because we don't really get extra hands that often with G.I. Joe characters, so not sure why he came with them, but you know, that is an option there. We do get some glasses, so a lot of our Dreadnoks wear glasses of some sort, like sunglasses or whatever, so we do get a pair with him. I'm not sure if his hair will be in the way, which this hair piece does come off, so maybe you could take the hair off and then get the glasses on and put them back on. So maybe do something like that, so the hair, when you put it back on, will help kind of hold the glasses on. Of course, they don't really sit on there perfect, but there he's got the glasses on there, so you get that option. We also get an additional bandana piece, so like his bandana around his neck, you can actually have it up around his face, so like covering his face. Let's try that out. So there's the bandana more around his face, and underneath that bandana he did also have this necklace as well, so whatever design that is supposed to be. So that's cool. I assume that's probably some of his like older look design with the bandana around his face and stuff. Not exactly sure, since I don't really know old G.I. Joes that well, but you get that option. But I would assume though more for an updated version for, you know, modern design stuff. We do also get this additional hair piece that has this metal mask that goes around his face like a breather, has like the 3D glasses design with the red and blue lenses, so looks pretty cool for that. So let's switch that all out. So there's that mask design, which looks pretty good again with his hair all slicked back now, and then that big metal mask looks pretty cool on him, so I'll probably just leave that for now. But I do like the other version with the glasses and the bandana and stuff. I think that would look pretty cool as well, and they seem to fit on pretty nice, looked pretty good overall for that. But this one's just nice and unique. Now for weapons, we do get a revolver, so just like a standard revolver there. Looks pretty good with all silver design on it. We'll put this in the holster here on his right thigh, so we can just slide this down in there. And I did just notice that his holster has a nice skull trident design stuff, all that going on there. Looks pretty good. Then he also comes with some specialized axes, so we get axe blades there, but they're on like Monkeywrench like handles, so that is pretty cool. So where he gets his name, so with those we can put in his hand. So there Monkeywrench has his Monkeywrench style axes there, so that is really cool. But for those, he does also have these slots here on his back on this bandolier thing that we can store him in. So let's take him out of his hand and put him in there, so you can store both of the axes there off his back, off that bandolier design. So that is pretty cool that he has that. And then we get his main weapon of the trident rifle, so this big rifle design that shoots like a trident out or whatever, so that is pretty cool. So with that, you can twist that around, actually probably pull it off there if you don't want it on there either, but nice big design there with that trident. Looks pretty cool, crazy design and all that. So let's put this in his hand. And there Monkeywrench has the trident rifle in his hand. Again, not easy to get him to hold on to it, but I just noticed some of the weird designs. So around his hand there, he has like a knuckle duster sort of design, which is crazy. There's like a double barrel shotgun on the front of it as well, along with shooting the trident. So just a crazy design overall there for Monkeywrench with his weapon, but looks very cool. And of course, now that we have Monkeywrench, we can add him in with all the rest of our Dreadnok team. So there's Monkeywrench thrown in with the rest of our Dreadnoks of Zartan, Xandar, Zarana, Buzzer, Blowtorch, Ripper, Naugahyde, and Road Pig there. So continuing to build up this large group of Dreadnoks is crazy cool. Of course, don't really know how many more members we have to go yet, but I do know there are still some more out there. So it'll just be crazy to see how big this group actually gets. And finally, we have Cobra Commander in the combat armor, again based off his version 3 figure back in the days. Cobra Commander likes to be in the thick of action when his army confronts the Joes, but to protect Cobra Commander in battle, the best technical minds of Destro's armament factory created a suit of armor that is air-conditioned, solvent-resistant, ray-shielded, and bulletproof, and the helmet has an integral commo system, internal readouts, and mini-computer display. So pretty cool to get this version of Cobra Commander in the battle armor. Now, I do know this was used back in the show, so I think it was after the G.I. Joe movie they used this in the show, because Cobra Commander had, you know, now been turned into a snake-like creature, which we got that figure not too long ago, and I'll show you. And so to help hide that he's an actual snake and not a man anymore, they gave him this armor. And of course, as you see with this design of the helmet that came on it, it has snake-like eyes in there, so you get that. And of course, we'll get an additional helmet with more human-like eyes that they kind of give to him, like painted on or whatever, again to help hide his disguise and all that. But it's just cool just to have him in this armor, you know, like I read all the stuff there from the file card about it, but still cool to have the armor. So we get the big helmet there, of course, with the more like Cobra Commander style helmet design and all that. Cobra logo there on his head and breather coming around and those snake-like eyes. I love like the blue outfit underneath, so it does like his blue vest and pants and stuff, but with the armor on top of it. So with the armor there up on his shoulder pads, and then coming down the arms with a big thick silver armor there on the chest plate coming down. Again, tubing's connecting him all around and stuff, keeping him alive. Nice belt buckle there with a Cobra logo and cod piece. Got a thigh holster off to the side there in red, which stands out. Then silver armored leggings going all the way down to the feet there as well. But just looks pretty cool overall for the combat armor Cobra Commander. But for his movements, his head will twist all the way around, look down that far and up that far, so not a whole lot of range, unfortunately. Shoulders come up to 90 with the butterfly back and forth and rotate all the way around. Of course, that armor is in the way there a little. Get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends all the way up there. We get the wrist that'll twist all the way around and has the hinge up and down hand once again. Then we get the ab crunchment, see the cutout there, so crunch back and forth and twist around, not all the way around, but we'll twist around there. Then at the waist, crunch a little back and forth and we'll twist all the way around there. Then the hips will come up to 90 and out to the side. Of course, with arm, you got to twist out to the side a little to get up as high as it was, and then can pretty much do the splits there as well with the drop down hips. Get a thigh twist around there down at the top of the armor as well. The double knee joint that bends up that far to that, very close to kicking himself in the butt. And then the photo rock back and forth and twist side to side, and there's a bit of an ankle twist down there as well. So very decent overall for the movements, not the best, but not worse by any means. I do have a little bit of issues getting him to stand, just I think because of the ankle designs and how little movement there is down at the bottom because of the armor, but I can still get him to stand, just a little bit of issues here and there. For accessories, he does come with that additional helmet that I mentioned, so we get the one that has more of the human-like eyes that we can switch out, so we can have more fully disguised Cobra Commander there, so that looks pretty decent. I do kind of like the ones with the normal human eyes a little bit more. He comes with additional hands, so he's got the 2 grip hands with the trigger fingers, so he comes with a set of fist hands, so get that. And then classic for Cobra Commander, we also get the pointing finger hand for leading and all that. That's good. We'd get a backpack piece for him as well, so whatever this is supposed to be, I assume with the design it almost like help him fly by the way it looks and all that, but we get this backpack piece, we'll peg in the back, so just like that. I assume that's the way it goes. I'm not really sure exactly, but get that pegged onto him there. He also comes with a gun, so we get this nice big gun here. Looks pretty good. The magazine doesn't come out or anything. Nice big scope or whatever that is on top as well. Just looks good overall. Futuristic design, but more weapon-like than the normal Cobra weapons. And then we can put this in the thigh holster, which of course big design and stuff, but it does fit just right down in there. At least that much, but I'll probably just go ahead and put it into his hand. Now, of course, because the gun was holstered on his left, it'd make more sense for it to be in his left hand, but since he came with the pointing finger for the left, I went ahead and put the gun in the right and gave him that pointing finger so he can be yelling at his troops as usual for Cobra Commander. And then finally, we also get an iguana, which is supposed to be Serpentor gets turned into an iguana, so that's what we get here. So that's why we have the color source, makes sense with the greens and yellow and stuff, so it makes sense. And nice to get just another animal for our G.I. Joes, and actually has some movements, so the arms move back and forth, legs move back and forth stuff, so you get those adjusted and have them in position, whatever. But there we get Serpentor as an iguana now as well, which is pretty fun to go along with our combat armor Cobra Commander. And of course, we've had other Cobra Commanders in the past, so just going with our basic classified series version there. So there's just the old original, so that's just the normal version for a classified series. And then as I mentioned more recently, we got the snake version of Cobra Commander, so again, that's what he looks like more now, so that's why he wears the suit of armor, at least from the cartoon. That's what the storyline is. So very cool overall. Really like this armor. Now this wouldn't obviously be my option for Cobra Commander, but still like the armor and everything overall for him. Well, that's going to be it for our G.I. Joe Classified Series Wave 22 figures, where we got Snake Eyes in the version 4 design, Major, Bludd, Monkeywrench from the Dreadnoks, and Combat Arbor Cobra Commander. So all 4 of these are really cool. Again, you could skip out on the Snake Eyes if you like the other Snake Eyes designs much more. Not necessary to have this design. Good upgrade for Major, Bludd, and nice if you missed out on the original one. So we got that. Monkeywrench adding to our Dreadnoks is always good as well. And then again, you could skip out on this Cobra Commander if you didn't want it, but I do really like the armor design and everything. Really like that overall. So let me know what you thought all 4 of these figures down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know what that like, and hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.